I've gotten very used to the fact that I'm Purely Patricia, but my name is Patricia Fox. That's my name. But I've become Purely Patricia when I'm like all dressed up with like a headpiece and, you know, something made out of a little paper. And so I sort of feel like Purely Patricia, which has to do with my style. But, and I'm also an artist and a designer, and I'm a person who lives her life to its fullest.
When you wake up in the morning, how do you feel most mornings?
I get out of bed immediately when I wake up. I'm not one of those people that lingers. And I make a gratitude list. That's how I change my mindset. So it inevitably always works.
And usually what's on the top of your list?
My health. Always.
And do you think your health is a genetic gift, or you think it's something that you've had to work on?
I work really hard on my health.
Tell me what you do.
I take excellent nutritional supplements. I have a healthy mindset. I eat very well. I think about how things look, you know, when they go in my mouth and what they're going to do for me. And I exercise regularly. And I feel very connected to a power greater than myself, something that's bigger than I am, that I hold myself accountable to. And I also live my life to impact and make a difference in other people's lives. I feel that's very important, to be of contribution.
You know what strikes me, Patricia, just watching you and navigating the streets of New York?
Yes.
People genuinely love you. No, these are perfect strangers. They'll come up to you, they feel like they know you, you're so approachable that most people, you know, would think, oh, well, she's an artist and she's extravagant and she's all this, but you're real, like you're the real deal. And that's interesting because I don't think you had to be. So what made you so grounded and accessible?
I don't know if you actually make a conscious decision. I mean, I do know one thing. You can't walk around looking like me and act like a bitch. I don't think like those two things go together. And one word that I feel is very, very important is kindness. You know, if you're not kind and kind-hearted, what goes around will come around. I'm going to share something very personal with you. It seems that now that she no longer is living, and I'm not as protective or fearful, but I grew up with a very, very beautiful mother. She also was mean-spirited. And as she aged, that mean spirit became part of who she was, and her beauty faded. Not faded into a different kind of beauty, but it faded into an ugliness and a mean-spiritedness. It was very, very interesting, and I was committed to never be that way. Beauty comes from within.
Right.
You know, it really, really does.
You chose a different path than what you saw growing up, and that's a choice that you're making, what not to be, how not to reflect, how not to emulate. These are choices that we make. So I think that part of beauty is ownership of the light in life, as opposed to another side that we didn't feel agreeable with.
I understand what you're saying. If you can connect with your inner being of what's important to you and what makes you feel comfortable. I have people talking about style that look at me all the time, and what they say to me, oh, I wished I could wear that, or I wished I could be like you. Rather than getting in touch with what it is that they want to create for themselves at their level of being comfortable. That's a decision that you make. I make it pretty consciously. My face is part of my outfit. I always am aware of having a slight smile on my face, to look pleasant, to be opening, to be welcoming. That's why people come up to me. I don't have like, you know, a stay away. I do have a wall that I know that I put down. I'm a very private person.
Right.
And yet I feel a sense of responsibility that when I go outside, people ask me, what are you dressed up for? You know, I find that like to be the most amazing question. I say life. I am dressed up for my life. I find it shocking that I saw 4 boys go into a restaurant yesterday, and they were all basically wearing the same pants, the same shirt, the same shoes. They had the same haircuts. And I'm sure that they don't live together. I'm sure it wasn't a conscious decision, but there's a uniform of acceptability out there where people do not want to stand out. They do not want to be different. And they certainly don't want to create or make an effort.
Let's make a sharp turn.
Segue.
And let's talk about sexuality and sensuality.
Whoa. Ooh. Sexuality and sensuality.
I'm very curious about how women at all stages of their lives, how they're embracing sensuality and sexuality. Do you feel sensual? Do you embrace your sexuality, and do you think it's an important thing for your identity?
An environment has a lot to do with sensuality. If you're surrounded by the dark and the ugly and the dirty and things being kind of chaotic, I don't think that's a natural breeding ground for sensuality. I think that's a breeding ground for the survival of the fittest. The sensuality part has to do with what I do for myself as a person. You know, it's the beautiful underwear, and it's the taking a bath every once in a while by myself, and you know, I don't need a book to tell me to do those kinds of things. I sit down at the dinner table and I eat like a real person, whether I'm alone or, you know, I don't eat standing up and watching TV, and I like the idea of, I'm a romantic, you know, the sensuality is part of being a romantic, and I've always been a girly girl. I wear perfume. Very few people wear perfume. So I think the sensuality for me has to do with what I do for myself on a personal level, and then my partner, boyfriend, or anybody that I'm having a relationship with, even if it's with a dinner, is the warmth, the welcoming, it's the being inclusive, not exclusive. That has a lot to do with being sensual. I don't think that I've ever not had sex my entire life for any long period of time. I've been really blessed in that way. And I believe that in order to have a great sexual life, you have to have a great sexual partner. And I get a kick out of reading all the magazines. People can think of more stuff. I read a magazine yesterday to dear whoever, Abby or somebody, and her husband likes to wear lingerie and underwear, and she wants to know if that's like wearing bra and underpants. It's like, no freaking way, I'd be in bed with a guy wearing a bra and underpants. I mean, how crazy is that? But is that sexual? It is for some people.
For some people, it works for them.
But you know, I never really wanted to complicate my life. Yeah, I just like to keep it simple.
And so what informs then your whole confidence with body image?
You know, body image is a mental state and it's a physical state. And I've never been really fat, but there was one morning that I felt so fat. I was on my way to the gym and I felt fat. And it really started playing mind games with me. And then I walked by a store window, and the person that I saw in the store window was so thin that it was shocking. It was like a clashing of my mind and my actual physical state. And I said, wow, that was really powerful. And that's when I really learned to come to understand that how people visualize themselves. And you know, there's certain body things that happen that you're just simply born with, that you know, you need to learn to accept. And I am not comfortable. I have a beautiful wardrobe, and there's just no way I'm not getting into that wardrobe. I feel great in bed, you know, and I feel physically fit. I love feeling strong. Being strong as a woman is very empowering. That to me is extremely important. It's like right up on the top of my list.
Absolutely. And as we close out, when I say to you, I am, who are you when you say I am, in the context of everything that we've spoken about?
I am a powerful, tenacious, high-spirited, clear-intentioned, focused woman. And if I have a goal in mind, you know, step aside, because I'm going to reach that goal.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Karen, you're so amazing. You're joyful.
Thank you.